All right, welcome back to the Monday Marketing Rundown. I'm Dan Bryan with DentalScapes, and if you've been following along, you know we cover the most important development in dental marketing each and every week, the stuff that actually moves the needle for your practice. Today's topic is a big one, and it affects every single dentist who relies on Google to bring in new patients, which is to say, everyone. So here's what happened. On March 12th, Google announced what it's calling the biggest update to Google Maps in over a decade. It's called Ask Maps, and it's powered by Gemini, Google's AI. And while the headline feature sounds like something for road trippers and tourists, there is a layer to this that every practice owner needs to understand right now. But let me back up for a second. If you've had a Google Business Profile or GBP for any length of time, you're probably familiar with the Q&A section. That was the feature where potential patients could post questions directly on your profile. Things like, do you accept Delta Dental? Do you see kids? And you and other users could answer them. It was not glamorous, but it was something that you could control. You could get in there, answer the questions yourself, and make sure the right information was showing up for anyone who found your practice on Maps. That feature is gone. Google quietly removed it in late 2025, and Ask Maps is the replacement. And here's what it means for your practice. When someone searches for a dentist on Google Maps now, and they have a specific question about your office, maybe it's your hours or whether you take their insurance, maybe whether you do Invisalign, they're not reading a Q&A thread anymore. They're asking an AI. And that AI, Gemini, is going out and pulling information from wherever it can find it. Your Google Business Profile, your reviews, your website, third-party directories. It synthesizes all of that and delivers an answer on your behalf, whether you're ready for it or not. That's the part I want you to sit with. Google is now speaking for your practice to prospective patients, and you have no direct say in what it says. You can't write the answer. You can't approve it. All you can do is make sure that the sources that Gemini is pulling from are accurate, complete, and consistent. Because if they're not, the AI fills in the gaps on its own, and that's where practices get hurt. Think about the patient who's about to call your office. They pull up your Maps listing, they tap Ask Maps, and they ask something simple. Do they offer same-day appointments? If your GBP is incomplete, if your website doesn't address that question anywhere, and if your reviews don't mention it either, Gemini is going to say it doesn't have enough information, and that patient is going to move on to the next practice. You didn't do anything wrong. You just weren't prepared for the new reality. So what do you actually do about this? Well, a few things. First, audit your Google Business Profile like it's the front door of your practice, because it is. Every section needs to be filled out completely. Your services list, your business description, your hours, your attributes, things like whether you offer online scheduling, whether your office is accessible, whether you have parking. Gemini is drawing from all of that. If there's a blank, that's a gap in what the AI can tell patients about you. Second, build a real FAQ page on your website and add FAQ content to every single service page. This is the single most important thing you can do right now to feed Gemini accurate information about your practice. Think about the questions your front desk answers every single day. Insurance questions, financing questions, what to expect at a first visit, and get those answered on your website in plain language. That content becomes a source that Gemini can pull from when patients ask those exact questions in Ask Maps. Third, your reviews matter more than ever, and I know I've been hitting this a lot lately. Ask Maps is synthesizing review content as part of how it answers questions. A patient who asks, is this a good practice for anxious patients, isn't getting a list of links, they're getting an AI-generated answer based on what your reviewers have said. So if your patients have talked about your gentle chairside manner, your team's patience, how welcome they felt, that language is now working for you inside Ask Maps, which means getting consistent, detailed reviews from happy patients isn't just about star ratings anymore. It's about feeding the AI the right story about your practice. So here's the bottom line. Google has moved from connecting patients to your information to interpreting your information for those patients. That's a fundamental shift. And the practices that are going to win in local search over the next year are the ones that treat their GBP, their website, and their reviews as a unified marketing system, because that's exactly how Gemini is reading them. If you want to make sure your practice is set up correctly for this new search environment, that's exactly what we do at DentalScapes. Head over to dentalscapes.com/start and schedule your free strategy call. We'll take a look at what Gemini is actually saying about your practice and make sure it's telling the right story. Thanks again, and I'll see you next Monday.